Hi everyone, it's Jeff Hopper back with Tracy Hanson talking about matters of the heart. Tracy, last time you mentioned that sometimes a fan will see a professional golfer hit a shot and think, oh, that was great. And yet you as the pro know that just didn't come off the club like I wanted. Talk to me a little bit about that, how sometimes you can hit a shot that looks good, but you kind of know something's not quite right here.
Yeah, and obviously the results will show it for us, where sometimes a fan thinks being on the green is good, where we are trying to get within 10 feet or 5 feet. And so the minute a shot comes off and it's a little thin, I know that it's going to be short of my intended target. And so now I have a longer putt or a chip that is not the most beneficial in order to make a birdie or to, improve my round. So that's what the difference, and it's so subtle. So subtle.
And incidental. It's one thing to say, okay, that shot deceives a fan. It's another thing to say, okay, there are things going on inside of me that are deceiving me. I think you can say sometimes there is a player. I know this is true because there are so many golfers who keep trying to convince themselves that someday they're going to hit the big time,
Right.
And they're deceiving themselves, really. They're just not, somebody hasn't been able to say to them, maybe it's time to try something else in your life. You can stay in the golf business, but probably the tour isn't going to happen.
Right.
Our own hearts do that to us often. They tell us we're okay, and yet we're probably not. In fact, in Jeremiah, we find a very disturbing passage because Jeremiah says, the heart is deceitful above all things and beyond cure. Who can understand it? I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind. And so there I am reading and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. I thought I was doing okay. And Scripture's telling me, but my heart has this tendency to deceive me. We're going to talk in this session and the ones coming up here about a problem and a solution, because the Scripture certainly makes clear our problem and offers a solution. And this problem of a deceitful heart is serious, isn't it? It
is serious. I think, especially in our culture today, that we get so comfortable. And it's like, oh, I lied to that person, but it's going to be okay, so we'll just go on in relationship as if nothing happened. And so then we deceive ourselves into thinking that what we know to be true, that we really hurt that person, didn't happen and doesn't matter.
Our heart is kind of self-defending, isn't it? Yeah, self-justifying a lot of times, and why not? It's that deep part of us, and we want to be all right, and yet we're not. As Scripture tells us, we're not. And we have to be very, very careful of our own self-assessment, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, that our self-assessment is usually not good at all. And yet, if we are willing in our self-assessment to turn to a master standard, to turn to Scripture and allow it to say to us, look, something is significantly wrong at your core, then we can begin to find a right place with God.
Right. And evil is lurking everywhere to try to get in the door of our heart and to deceive us even more. And to think that we can do this life apart from God.
We can't.
We can't.
And that's what we'll talk about next time. Thanks for being with us.